Hi, welcome to Better Than Messages. I'm Lindsay Zimmerman. Hello. I understand if you haven't watched any of the previous messages before, there was a real focus on overcoming our own mental health issues, overcoming our PTSD, understanding what true abundance is, understanding what prosperity is, letting go of lack mentality and all of that. And I understand now with today's message why that was such a focus. So let's just get right into it. And I say we because this is something that I struggle with as well, we need to let go of this idea that conflict outside of ourselves is preventing us from our own abundance, our own happiness, the completion of what our goals are, and stepping into the life that we feel that we deserve, or that we're entitled to, or that we've worked hard for, or anything like that. We need to let go of this idea that it is conflict outside of ourselves that is preventing us from having the things that we feel that we want to have. Because what is actually going on is conflict is always going to be in the world, but we are internalizing that conflict. We are bringing that into ourselves and owning conflict as if it is something that is inherent and how do I want to say this? No, I'm going to scratch that. We are not owning the conflict. What we are doing is using external conflict as an excuse to withdraw from others, withdraw from the world, withdraw from our own abundance and our own happiness. We are using external conflict as an excuse as to why it is that we cannot obtain the things that we want. And the truth is that there is always going to be conflict, but it's up to you, me, as beautiful children of God that we are, to understand that while conflict is always going to be in reality, we don't need to let it affect the way that we think of ourselves and others. We don't need to withhold from others in a selfish way. We can trust that any and all things work to our advantage. We can have faith and courage enough to be generous with others, to be generous with ourselves, and to have the completion and embodiment of the people that we are meant to be. There is nothing outside of you that is preventing you from becoming that person, from having those things, that life that you are striving so hard for. And I know that you're working hard for it. I know that you are. I know that the people that I connect with are not lazy people. They are not inherently selfish people. But the previous messages that I've given you guys have all been about recognizing our own weak spots, the parts of ourselves that are preventing us from moving to the places that we need to be in our lives in order to bring in the life that we are hoping to achieve. And that focus, that internal work, that shadow work is so important, because if you are unwilling to recognize the ways that you are sabotaging yourself, you are always going to externalize conflict. You are always going to feel as though something outside of yourself is working against you. When really, if we can just own the fact that we have a mistrust in the world and others and ourselves because of experiences that we've had that have taught us that people are untrustworthy, that the world is set up for you to fail, that you are not capable of achieving the things that you want to achieve, of being the person that you want to achieve. If we just own the fact that these are stories that we have told ourselves, and that they are not reality. They are stories that we have told ourselves to deal with the experiences that we've had in our lives. And that these stories are what causes conflict in our lives. It's what causes us to withdraw from the people, places, and things that are actually good for us, that are going to help us. And that's how we are self-sabotaging. If we can own that and recognize those ways that we self-sabotage, and have courage enough to accept that, to not blame other people, to not think that these are things that are outside of you, then what happens? You suddenly have a fortunate turn of the karmic wheel in your favor, right? Because suddenly you are taking opportunities that are good for you. You are forming relationships that are good for you. You are participating in habits and circumstances that are good for you, as opposed to sabotaging yourself with laziness and selfishness and procrastination. These are really hard truths for us to recognize. I understand that, but it's not like every single one of you can't be as strong mentally and emotionally as you want to be. And that's just the truth of it. We look up to people who have overcome, right? Like idolize these people who, they may have a crazy backstory that... Hold on, this is weird. I apologize, I had to shut the camera off. That was really very odd. Somebody just pulled up right behind me asking about people that I don't know. I don't know who those people are. I don't know if they live in my apartment building or not. That was weird. Anyways, where was I? Yeah, my point is, we idolize people because we hear their backstories, and maybe they came from difficult backgrounds, and we see how well they're doing and all of that, right? It's like, oh, look at this person. They had so little to begin with, and now look at where they are. That's amazing, But it wasn't like, yes, I'm sure that miracles played a part in every single one of their stories, but it wasn't like, a movie where you see this difficult place that somebody starts off in, and then, jump cut in the movie to suddenly they're successful and they have a great family and all of this stuff. That's not how life works. And that's not how these people that we idolize, that's not how their lives went. We didn't see like the 3 a.m. tears that they were bawling alone, not knowing if that they had the strength and the confidence and the wherewithal and the skill and talent or whatever to get to where it is that we see them. We don't get to see, their struggles and all of that stuff. We don't see that stuff. And it is very, very real. Like in the real world, it is very, very real. There are 24 hours in a day, and we might see, for these people that we idolize, we might see 5 to 10 minutes of their daily life if they like to post on social media, but we don't get to see all of the struggles and all of the courage that it took. We don't get to see them fighting with their inner demons and getting small wins and giving themselves credit for all of their small wins. We don't get to see all of that stuff. But what we see is this amazing legacy. This amazing legacy that these people are building, whether it be Steve Jobs or Elon Musk or Beyonce or, Pick your favorite idol, right? We don't get to see all of it. And that's what I'm telling you. There's 24 hours in a day, and a day is a long day, or it's a long time when you are struggling with yourself. And so I'm going to encourage you to give yourself small wins. Give yourself credit. You can't be perfect all the time, but as long as you are better today than you were yesterday, and tomorrow you're better than you are today, you're winning. And I encourage you to look at how you are feeding conflict in your own life, whether it be internally or externally. Look at how you are withdrawing, and instead of being generous with others and generous with yourselves, you are being selfish because you are protecting yourself unnecessarily. If we set out in the world every day to do good, and our intention every day is to do good for ourselves, for our families, for others, you will have good karma accrue in your karmic credit account. You will be able to achieve the things that you maybe think are only pipe dreams. But it's having the courage to understand that you are responsible for your own happiness, your own abundance, your own legacy. You're responsible for the completion of the being that you are meant to be. So, yeah. I understand why the messages were so heavy on overcoming our own past traumas, understanding how we truly feel about things, not hiding things from ourselves because they hurt to think about, but actually digging into the reasons that we feel the way that we feel, and the things that have happened to us and how they have affected us, and being real and honest with ourselves about those things. It's so important, because if we don't understand how it is that we are sabotaging ourselves, how it is that we are withdrawing from the world, then that happiness, that abundance, that legacy, that completion of ourselves will never happen, and we'll just be unmentionables in a world of people who are elevating. And I know you don't want that. We're talking about the evolution of humanity here, and I know that you want to be a part of it. I certainly want to be a part of it. It's the reason that I don't get paid for tarot readings anymore. It's the reason that I closed out my Patreon for firm hand education. It's because these messages are not. Sorry, I have little boys that are distracting me. Go on, guys. Go on. These messages are not just for people who can afford to pay for them, right? They're not just for people who want to support me, but these messages are for everyone. And so I know for me that ability to let go of internal conflict has involved being generous with the education that I have, being generous with the wisdom that I've gained through my life experiences, and not causing conflict externally and internally within myself by withdrawing myself from humanity, because we are all a part of each other, and whatever we have to offer each other, we should, because we can. And that's how we gain that bump up in our credit bank account, or in our karmic bank account, excuse me. So, shout out to Maya, by the way. All right, I love you guys. We'll have messages coming soon. They might be in my car for a while because I'm in the middle of moving, but I love you so much. I hope that you can take this with you throughout your day and remind yourself in those moments where you have the opportunity to choose how you create conflict, or whether you participate in that conflict or not. I hope that you take this message throughout your day and it reminds you to be kinder to yourself and others. It reminds you to be generous with yourself and others. And it reminds you that happiness is yours already. You just have to choose it. I love you so much.